Hi there, KOIN 6 meteorologist Josh Cozart here with a KOIN 6 weather alert in place. That means we've got a lot to talk about here over the next several days as a wintry mix continues to take aim at much of the Pacific Northwest. Be sure to share this video with your friends and family members so they can get the latest updates as winter weather continues to take aim at much of our area. We've already had our fair share of the winter weather over the past 24 to 48 hours, and what this KOIN 6 weather alert basically means is we need to be prepared for that wintry mix potential. Although the impacts have been significantly lower, that is the good news, but that could potentially roll over into the middle of the week where the impacts are maybe slightly greater. Of course, the chilly overnight temperatures, they're going to be staying with us as well as we prepare for maybe some impacts for some of us, especially up in elevation with our roadways, but some impacts could even be felt right here at the valley floor and parts of the I-5 corridor and also through downtown Portland and parts of Vancouver, as Mother Nature has finally turned up the winter weather machine for us here across our area. You can see the live view below me here of those dark hanging clouds still hovering right over downtown Portland as we prepare for on again, off again snow and rain showers. That's all a possibility as we work our way through the rest of this evening tonight. So that is something we are going to be cautious about. But boy, it was a bit of a blast of the winter for some of us just yesterday during the afternoon hours. I was even able to pick up on a few of those quick moving isolated snow bursts, very short and brief in nature, really didn't leave behind anything other than places like Seaside actually picking up on a light dusting, not only earlier this morning, but even into the afternoon, evening hours. If you're watching KOIN 6 News at 4, 5, or 6, you were able to see that live as the West Hills and even Salem managed to pick up on just a few of those isolated snow flurries. So, of course, you can share your weather photos and videos with us anytime, either by taking a screen grab of your screen right now or by just heading over to KOIN.com. If you click on the weather tab, there is an area where you can submit your photo. That way you can be part of the weather conversation as well. So we still have a little bit of lingering moisture still hovering through parts of the I-5 corridor. Right now, a lot of it just hovering in the form of rain, at least through much of our region. And we'll kind of take a closer look at some of those temperatures because a lot of us are on the fringe of the freezing mark. Hillsborough at 36 degrees right now, Mill City at 34, but slightly warmer in places like Salem at 41, Portland at 40, and still in the upper 30s out towards southwest Washington, with the exception of Kelso falling back to about 34. So, with that being said, that means we could potentially see some maybe a snowflake or two potentially survive and make its way down to the valley floor. All a possibility. We'll kind of zoom into what has been interesting out along the coastline, picking up on just a bit of that moisture as well. But the Portland, Vancouver metro area still having that chance for maybe a snow flurry or two as parts of I-84 still expected to see all of those snowy conditions right around the Pendleton area. So you got to go a little bit further east of the Dalles and then out towards the state line of Oregon and Idaho to pick up on a bit more of that wintry mix for us. So as far as our rain accumulation went, we did manage to fill up the bucket for a few of us, picking up 1/100th of an inch for Portland, 2/100ths of an inch for our friends up in Vancouver. Closer to 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch was also found in many locations out along the shoreline as well. So not necessarily winter weather. We haven't really seen any accumulation, but a light dusting found along the coast and for parts of the I-5 corridor. So as far as our confidence goes with this next batch of winter weather, we're pretty high on our confidence, honing in on Wednesday in particular. That's where we could potentially see a little bit more of a stronger wintry mix, potentially a little bit more widespread, all a possibility, and it could lead to some impacts for your morning commute. So we will dive right on into that. I'll just take us down to what the rest of this evening looks like as we do anticipate maybe a stray rain or snow shower, depending on what your temperature is, to kind of push through the area for 8 p.m. again at 11 o'clock or so. But then we actually dry out our skies as we approach tomorrow morning, as we take a live look right now at Seaside, where over the past little while it looks like maybe we're picking up on maybe a snowflake or two. Great, though, to see over the high terrain of the Cascades, where many of our ski resorts have seen beneficial snow once again. This is what we like. 24-hour snowfall totals upwards of an inch, upwards of 5 inches in many cases, building back up that base layer, because you got to remember it was about 2 to 2.5 weeks where we saw no measurable snowfall whatsoever over our ski resorts. So this is a welcome sight, because a lot of it started to kind of refreeze and then was just almost like you were skiing on ice. And if you've ever been skiing, that is less than ideal. So I do want to give us just a little bit closer of a look at our radar here, if it will all cooperate with me here, over the Portland area, because it's the West Hills that could potentially pick up on a snow flurry or two within about the next hour or so. All of this tracking its way from the southwest to the northeast. That's going to be an ongoing trend tonight over the next several days. But again, it's Wednesday into Thursday morning that we're highlighting for the potential biggest impacts with this winter weather, as our snow elevation levels continue to kind of dance anywhere from 700 feet all the way to the airport elevation, which is just a few feet above sea level. So that is all a very real potential. We gradually start to warm things back up and dry out our skies Thursday during the mid-morning hours into the afternoon. So any potential snow that does fall will likely melt fast. But it's going to be falling in kind of those sweet spots of either a late evening commute or an early morning commute. That is all a possibility. So we'll go ahead and kind of take you through our timeline here. As the computer has a mind of its own, jump into our 7-day there. Just a bit of a snapshot again. So it's Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday that we're really kind of keeping the closest eye on that potential. So with the futurecast, we could potentially pick up on a stray snowflake or two. This is about 9 o'clock during the mid-morning hours. So a lot of people probably already settled into your area. Don't be concerned if you're sitting at your office space and you look out the window and you see a few snowflakes. Not expected to be impactful. We quickly dry things out by the afternoon hours. Then once we move into Wednesday morning, a few more widespread rain showers or snow showers, I should say, a possibility, as those winds out of the south-southwest could potentially kind of put a squash to that snow potential. So this is still all very much so up in the air with the potential to pick up on that accumulative snow. It's all going to come down to timing, temperature, and available moisture, and of course the direction of the wind. But you see places like Newport could potentially pick up on a quick little burst of snow. It covers the streets for no more than an hour, and then it dries itself back out. But seeing that potential taking us all the way through the middle part of the day on Wednesday, that's where we transition kind of back over to just that rain potential for the I-5 quarter before the colder overnight temperatures once again return. So Thursday morning, potentially looking again at a snow scenario for us, a little bit more widespread as opposed to what we've seen where other times over the past few days, it's been very isolated in nature. This more acting like a blanket, but then we quickly dry things out by the time we get into Thursday afternoon, Thursday evening. Clear skies means freezing temperatures Thursday night, but I really think that a lot of the moisture will kind of be zapped by then to impact us moving into Friday. So I really like to show this because I think it does a really good job of kind of laying out our timeline. Wednesday morning, temperatures below freezing. We could see up to an inch in some locations. I really think that opportunity is better above about 500 feet or so. So know your elevation. That's going to be key. We have a web story up right now. If you can't find it on our website easily, Google elevation KOIN, and you'll be able to find it quite easily. KOIN, elevation. It'll be the first thing that pops up. Helps you determine where your elevation is, and we got a whole list there. Isolated slick spots, a possibility for some of us, not widespread, not majorly impactful for Wednesday morning. Just use caution, give yourself a little extra time in the morning as well. I really think that it will be low impact for us. Then by the time we get to Wednesday afternoon, a wintry mix, so that means maybe a burst of a few snowflakes and it quickly flips over to rain. Very similar to what we have been seeing. And then as we move into Wednesday night, well after sunset, we're talking maybe 8, 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, it transitions back over to snow flurries. That's where the slick spot potential starts to ramp back up because any leftover moisture from earlier rain showers could potentially refreeze on many of those surfaces. And this timeline is pretty accurate for the entire I-5 quarter. So stretching pretty much from about Salem up to Portland, this timeline is pretty spot on for us. So what are the road impacts for us? Well, thankfully, it's going to be very short-lived, a very small window where things could be a little bit on the dicier side. So we're talking about Wednesday morning, likely going to hold on to those clear roadways. But don't be surprised as you're driving. You might actually pick up on some snowflakes. Maybe the windshield wipers are going. You kind of see along the edge of the windshield that, hey, a little bit of snow starting to pile up because your windshield wipers are working hard. That's a possibility for Wednesday morning. It all melts by the afternoon. It's well after sunset. So again, 11, 12, moving into Thursday morning, that's where the roads could become a little slick. Again, it's not going to be anything like what we experienced back in January of 2024, back in the middle of the month. Nothing like that. Our temperatures aren't nearly cold enough to create any scenario like that. So any moisture that does linger, a few puddles here and there, all a possibility to potentially refreeze. So just use extreme caution. Black ice, also a concern. That's the ice that looks like it's just wet on the asphalt, but it's not. It is ice. That could linger into Thursday morning, but improvements will be felt after sunrise. That's when those temperatures will start to warm, and really it won't be that big of a concern for us. So as far as our snow potential goes, this is looking all the way through Tuesday. So we could, some weather models picking up on just 1/100th or 1/10th, I should say, of an inch for the European model. I really don't think we'll see any accumulation for the I-5 corridor. Up in elevation above 700-800 feet, likely. So we're talking about the coast range, maybe another little dusting on the coast that stays for an hour and then it melts away quite quickly. That is all a possibility. Now, as far as the Portland area goes, that's where we could potentially, again, maybe the West Hills, out east of town, talking about Gresham, Sandy, maybe closer to 3 to 6 inches, a very real possibility for us. But I really think that Portland will, with anything that does fall, will melt quickly. So it's not going to be like the 2 inches that you see piled up. It'll look kind of like a wet, slushy dusting on many of our grassy areas, on our roads as well, which can still be very slick. But this is looking into Wednesday night. That could potentially refreeze during the overnight hours into Thursday morning. So that's why we're keeping that KOIN 6 weather alert going. So we could potentially pick up on some falling snowflakes Wednesday through Thursday, accumulating on the grass. I really think that the impacts for downtown, much of the metro area, is really going to be low-key. For the hills, that's where it could stick on the roads, maybe an hour, 2 hours. Once you dry out, the temperatures warm back up, really isn't going to be a threat. But at least for tonight, maybe a brief rain-snow mix shower pushing its way to midnight, then we really start to dry things out once again. And then we have that potential tomorrow for another wintry mix. Again, it's going to lean more so on the rain side as opposed to the snow side as we get back up to about 43 degrees. So there you go. Here's your 7-day forecast. We'll take a look at it in all of its glory as we do anticipate those KOIN 6 weather alerts to be in place Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Again, the slick spots could potentially be early Wednesday morning moving into the Thursday morning time frame. I'm just reading some of your comments here, too, as you take a look at the 7-day forecast. Jake says, no, it can't. And then we got another comment that says, sigh. So when is spring? Well, Puxatawny Phil, he was predicting that this would be a longer winter for us, although I don't take his forecast into account by any regard. But just kind of fun to look at it that, hey, yeah, we're still very much so in the thick of the winter season. This is definitely going to be staying with us. And our temperature is well below what is normal for the start of February. We should be hanging out in the upper 40s, close to 50 degrees in many cases. Our overnight lows should be right around 37. That's not going to be the case over the next week or so. But again, at least we're kind of on this fringe that anything that does fall is going to be melting on contact. So that is the very good news. Of course, you can get the latest weather update always at KOIN.com. You can also find our latest forecasts on KOIN 6. I'll be doing the 10 tonight on Portland CW. So I will see you there with the latest forecast where we can get an in-depth look again at the ever-changing weather models as we predict this latest round of winter weather to potentially impact your Wednesday morning, Wednesday night, and Thursday morning. So we'll see you on all of those avenues. Have a great night.